Hello and welcome to the Getting Things screencast. This is episode 3, Managing Your To-Day List. So last time we talked about how to get your ideas into things and how to move them to the appropriate focuses. Today I want to talk about where you'll be spending most of your time when you're in things, and that's the to-day list. You want to be looking at the items that you need to accomplish today, and you want to spend just a little bit of time picking one to work on and then accomplishing it. There'd be no point in spending most of your time in things. You want things to just be a tool. If you've ever heard of the concept of inbox zero, then you'll understand the concept of today box zero, or today list zero. Basically, you want to check off or postpone all the items in your today list every single day so that you get down to no items. That constitutes a successful day getting things done wise. I want to talk about how things can facilitate that, and I want to talk about different ways that you can pull items into the to-do list. So let's get started. You'll see that I have a few items here. These are all things that I'd like to work on today, but you can see some of them are due today, some of them aren't due today, and some of them don't really even have a due date associated with them at all. When I'm working on things, oftentimes I'd like to prioritize them. Now you can do this with tags, but today I want to talk about doing it via due date. Anytime you have a list anywhere in things that has items that have due dates, you can click this little clock up here in the corner, and it will sort things by the due date. Now I can look at the items that are due and try to pick them off first. Once I call Andy, I give it a check off, and it goes away. I'd also like to talk about postponing items. Oftentimes you'll be chugging through your to-do list and you realize that it's just too big for what you can get done today. I like to postpone things, and you can do it in one of two ways. We talked about it a little bit last time. You can either drag it to the next list, or you can drag it to the scheduled list. If it's something that's time sensitive, you probably want to drag it to the scheduled list, and it'll automatically show back up in today on the day that you assign. I like doing this a lot, especially when I want to postpone something till tomorrow. This allows me to have today list 0 and still work on the same things tomorrow. Scheduled items are when you want to start something. What about due dates? Due dates are when something must be finished. Now, you can set a due date very easily, either whenever you use the quick entry panel or whenever you're creating a task in place. You can also select when you want it to be shown in today, which has the added benefit of putting it in red for that number of days. So if you put it on the date, then on February 28th for this one, I'm going to see prune trees in red. I mean, it's due today and it needs to get done. I can also say that I want it to show up 3 days before. Then, in a few days from now, it's going to turn from gold to red. Let's say that I don't have time to do this today either. So instead of scheduling it, I'm just going to mark it as not today by clicking this gold star. Now it's in next, and in a few days it'll show back up in red in today. Let me show you how that might work. And now you'll see that it's in red because I wanted it to be reminded of it 14 days before. You might think that scheduling items and making them due are mutually exclusive, but that's not true. Here, I have an item that I've scheduled for next week because I'd like to work on it, but it's due on April 15th. I'm sure you know what that is. Really, I'd like to get my refund for my taxes as soon as possible, but I don't have time to work on it until next week. Plus, I'm still waiting on a few forms to come in. So I've delayed the start until next Sunday, the 22nd. This will show up in my today list. You can tell that because of this star here on Sunday. If I notice that it's in my today list and I decide I really just can't do that today, I'll take it off and it'll show up again 8 days before April 15th, so I'm guaranteed to see this in the right amount of time. There's a few other things that I want to address. Now, let's say, like me, you've cleared off all your items in your to-do list. You can then go to your next list or your someday list and drag items into today. This allows you, once you've completed your to-do list, to pull new items in. This is why I encourage you to keep small to-do lists. You can always pull new items in, but it feels really bad whenever you have 30 items and you know you're only going to get to 5 of them. If through the scheduled feature you open up things one day and you see 30 items, I encourage you to quickly glance through it and maybe knock a few off. Just click the gold star and they'll go into next. That way you can focus on the ones that matter. You can also, since you have the due dates, you could very quickly just work on the ones that are due. I encourage you to keep your to-do list short so you can stay motivated. You can check things off, move things to next, or schedule them for later. And then you can pull in things you really want to be doing or are motivated to do from next. This concludes the screencast. I hope you've enjoyed getting to know how to manage your to-do list in a more effective manner. Be sure to tune in next week when we'll be discussing tags and how you can use this powerful feature in Things. See you next time.